Howdy guys, Lindsay here, and today's subject is... First published in 2008 and turned into a movie just 4 years later, Susan Collins' little novel has certainly enjoyed a sweeping success, outselling the Harry Potter books, grossing $1.5 billion at the box office, and actually making Jennifer Lawrence the highest grossing action heroine of all time. The setup? In a distant future, the corrupt capital of Pan Am enforces a yearly blood sport to be played by children to punish the 12 working-class districts for revolting 74 years ago. A boy and girl tribute are taken from each district, given combat and survival training, and forced to fight to the death until only one remains. And while I wasn't crazy about the first two movies, and I think splitting Mockingjay is just dumb, I did like the first book. Strong, or even really decently written, female lead characters are disturbingly rare these days, and it's nice to have one whose initial motivation wasn't some dude. But then I went and watched this.
人生はゲームです。みんな必死になって戦って生き残る価値のある大人になりましょう。バトルロワイヤル。
And the situation complicated. Written in 1997 by Kaushin Takami, sorry if I butchered that, and published in 1999, it took just 1 year for Battle Royale to be adapted from a book into both a manga series and a controversial feature film that
is my favorite movie of the last 17 years, and that is the Japanese film Kenji Fukasaku's Battle Royale. If there is any movie that has been made since I've been making movies that I wish I had made, it's that one.
Hi.
Coco done it.
Bingo.
What is Battle Royale about? Stop me if you've heard this before. In the near future, a failing Japanese government instills a blood sport to be played by teens to get the rebelling youth population back in line. Every year, one class of junior high school students are taken, given weapons, and told that in 3 days, if more than one of them still lives, they all die. More than a few similarities to the Hunger Games, no. Well, those similarities just keep on coming. Movie opens with expository text that leads into media coverage about the games. A musical main character. And our second lead? They bake.
Did your mother make these?
Pita.
The main character's dad's dead and the mother is absent. Now, I'm not all up in a tizzy over a similar setup and a few minor details that happen to rhyme. Like I said in my last video, it's statistically impossible for any story to be completely 100% original. One of my all-time favorite movies wouldn't even exist if stories weren't allowed to have similarities with others. My issue isn't that Hunger Games has the similarities with Battle Royale. Need a little more exposition? Well, the movie's got a movie for that. A woman in bright-colored clothing collects the kids for the games. Players chosen by lottery. The players are paired off boy, girl, and numbered. My problem is that with the having of the similarities, eventually you cross a line. An alcoholic previous game winner serves as the mentor/guardian of the main characters. And the similarities become either so specific or so numerous. Love triangle. That the chances of coincidence become unlikely. lethal volunteer players.
こいつら特に要注意だぞ。
And the Hunger Games is guilty of this on every front. Periodic announcements list the recently deceased with a musical accompaniment.
午前6時になりました。天童真由美、男子1番、赤間。
Now, I am aware of Susan Collins' story about flipping between channels showing news coverage of the Iraq War and reality TV inspiring her to write The Hunger Games. And I also know that she claims she never heard of Battle Royale before turning in her final draft. Whether those stories are true, I technically have no idea. But I do find them a little difficult to believe. Why? Well, gear bags and randomized weapons are supplied at the start of the games.
これは大当たりですね。
Tracking/monitoring devices.
Your tracker.
ただ心臓パルスをモニターしていて、皆さんの位置や行動を正確に。
If players aren't killing enough, the game makers encourage them.
以上3名。ちょっとペースが落ちてます。先生残念です。今から禁止エリアを増やし。
But even if Collins did take from Battle Royale, it's not like Hunger Games is an exact carbon copy of. Main characters witness female players do something silly that gets them killed by the volunteer players, who then mock their victims. That's a bit. Encounter with the volunteer players would kill our lead character if not for help they receive from other players, and then while they're unconscious from their injuries, the lead receives medical aid from another female player who almost immediately dies for getting involved with the lead. Awkward. So, the titular Hunger Games are about class disparity, keeping the working class working so the rich can play, while Battle Royale's games are a metaphor of life and how we wish to live it, asking what kind of people we want to be. In Battle Royale, you have 42 players, while the Hunger Games has just 24. And with the narrative scope rarely wandering far from Katniss, we actually barely get to know or even see most of the other kids. Battle Royale, though, actually makes the effort to share the screen as much as possible with all the kids, going as far as to give some of them their own subplot or even a motivation for them to call their own, which actually ends up being a bit of a mixed bag. It's awesome getting to know so many of the other players in the game, but it also ends up leaving the leads, well, a bit boring.
お前らの武器はね、鍋の蓋。
それと双眼鏡。
Where Katniss is proactive, resourceful, and always at least tries to have some sort of a plan, Shuya and Noriko are just kind of along for the ride. Unlike Katniss, whose decisions and mistakes are constantly the driving force of the narrative.
Volunteer! I volunteer as tribute!
And, with something genuinely nice said of the Hunger Games, it's counter time.
You think that's funny?
Every time that cannon goes off, it's music to my ears.
Main character only directly kills one person.
撃たなきゃ撃っちゃうよ。
The second lead doesn't kill anyone.
鍋の蓋。
それと双眼鏡。
Only one person is supposed to survive, but these games, multiple do. The game masters kick the bucket.
クッキーうまかったな。
Victors are treated like celebrities. These games spark new rebellion.
俺たちを殺し合わせてきた全ての大人に戦
Yeah, I'm not making this up. Even the endings are pretty much the exact same. Are we seeing eye to eye yet? Do you see where I'm coming from?
Do you see? Do you see?
Yes, I see.
And I haven't even started on the sequels yet. But we'll do those next time. Give me them views!